The city breathed decay. Neon signs flickered like dying stars, casting jagged shadows across rain-slicked streets. Lysandra moved through them like smoke, a whisper in the dark. Her crimson dress melted into the night, her pale skin glowing faintly under the sickly moonlight. She was a ghost here, a predator who left no trace, or so she believed. She didn't hear him at first, but she felt him. A presence, heavy and primal, pressing against the edges of her senses. Her steps slowed, the air thickened. Then, golden eyes, burning through the gloom. Kale. He stood in the mouth of a ruined cathedral, his massive frame barely contained by the crumbling archway. Moonlight caught the scars raking his chest, the wild tangle of his dark hair. He wasn't hiding. He was waiting. Lysandra's lips curled. Foolish beast. She could vanish in an instant, leave him chasing nothing but her scent. But something in his gaze pinned her in place. He wasn't looking at her like prey. He was looking at her like she was the only thing in the world worth seeing. She tilted her head, a challenge. Try me. He did. One moment he was still. The next, the ground shuddered as he lunged. Lysandra twisted away, but his fingers grazed her wrist. Hot, rough, electric. She hissed, fangs flashing. He growled, low and deep, the sound vibrating through her bones. They circled each other, two shadows under a bleeding moon. You smell like starlight, he rumbled. His voice was a storm barely leashed. She laughed, cold as the grave. And you smell like death. He bared his teeth, not in anger, in hunger. You don't run. Why? Because she was tired of being invisible. Because his eyes stripped her bare, saw the monster and the woman tangled beneath. Because for the first time in centuries, something inside her wanted. She didn't answer. Instead, she struck. Her nails sliced toward his throat. He caught her wrist, yanking her against him. Their breaths tangled, her cold, his scorching. His grip was iron, but his thumb brushed her pulse, slow, deliberate. A question. Lysandra went still. No one touched her like this, like she was something to be savored, not feared. The world narrowed to this heat, his scent, the wild thunder of his heart. She should kill him. She could. But then his head dipped, his nose skimming the curve of her neck. A shudder ripped through her. I see you, he murmured against her skin. And damn her immortal soul, she believed him. The city held its breath. Two predators, one moment. Then the distant howl of this pack shattered the silence. Kale snarled, his grip tightening. Mine, he breathed. Before she could react, he was gone, a shadow swallowed by the night. Lysandra stood alone, her wrist still burning where he touched her. The game had begun. And for the first time, she wasn't sure she wanted to win. The alley reeked of wet brick and old blood. Lysandra perched on a rusted fire escape, her fingers curled around the iron railing. Beneath her, the city pulsed, drunken laughter, the screech of tires, the steady thump of human hearts. Easy prey. But she wasn't hungry for them tonight. She was hunting something far more dangerous. A low growl slithered through the dark. Her lips twitched. Right on time. Kale emerged from the shadows, his bare chest gleaming with rain. His eyes burned gold, locked onto her. He didn't stalk, didn't prowl. He walked, each step deliberate, like he already owned the ground beneath him. Lysandra dropped soundlessly in front of him. Lost, beast. His nostrils flared. You're the one who led me here. She had. This place, narrow walls, no exits. A trap. He knew it, and he didn't care. The air between them crackled. She could hear his heartbeat, too fast for a creature like him. Not feeder, something hotter. You're playing with fire, she murmured, circling him. He turned with her, a predator matching a predator. Fire's the only thing that doesn't leave scars. A challenge, an invitation. She struck first. Her fist flew toward his jaw. He caught it, yanking her forward. Their bodies collided, cold against heat. She twisted, her knee aiming for his ribs. He grunted but didn't let go, his free hand tangling in her hair. Not to hurt, to hold. Fight me, he rasped. Really fight me. She bared her fangs. You wouldn't survive it. His grip tightened. Try. She did. They became a blur of motion, a whirlwind of claws and snarls. He was stronger, but she was faster. Her nails raked his side. His teeth grazed her shoulder. The pain was sharp, bright, alive. She kicked him back. He hit the wall hard enough to crack brick. Dust rained down. For a heartbeat, they stared at each other, chests heaving. Then he laughed. Rough, wild, thrilled. Lysandra's breath caught. No one had ever laughed at her violence before. Cale pushed off the wall. Blood streaked his skin, but his grin was feral. That all you got? She should kill him. She wanted to. Instead, she lunged again. This time, when he caught her, he didn't push her away. He pulled her closer, his breath hot on her cheek. "Why do you run?" he murmured. She froze. "I don't run." "You do." His thumb brushed the inside of her wrist, where her pulse should be, from this. She jerked back. "You don't know me." "I know you're tired." His voice dropped, almost gentle. "I know you're lonely." Her fingers curled into fists. "Shut up." He stepped into her space again, unafraid. "Make me." She could. One bite, one twist. His blood would taste like storms and wild things. She didn't move. The moment stretched, fragile as glass. Then a howl ripped through the night. Close, too close. Cale's head snapped up, his pack. Lysandra smirked. "Better run, wolf." His eyes locked onto hers. "Next time, you won't want me to." Then he was gone, leaving only heat and the echo of his promise behind. Lysandra touched her shoulder where his teeth had been. The skin was already healing. She shouldn't smile. She did. The forest swallowed them whole. Ancient oaks groaned under the weight of centuries, their gnarled branches clawing at the sky. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and something darker, something that made Lysandra's skin prickle. She moved like liquid shadow between the trees, her bare feet silent on the moss. Behind her, Cale's presence was a wildfire barely contained. She could feel his eyes on her back. "Faster, bloodsucker," he growled. She didn't turn. "Keep up, mutt." The words were sharp, but something coiled tight in her chest. No one had ever chased her like this. Not for this long. Not with this much hunger. A twig snapped. Not from them. Lysandra went still. The vampire lord's hunters had been tracking them since dusk. 5 of them, armed with silver and spite. She could smell their arrogance on the wind. Cale stepped closer, his shoulder brushing hers. "You led us into a trap." "You followed," she whispered back. His teeth flashed in the dark. "Always will." The words shouldn't have mattered. They did. Then the attack came. A blade sliced through the air where Lysandra's throat had been. She spun, her fist meeting bone. The hunter crumpled. 2 more lunged from the trees. Cale moved like thunder. His claws tore through flesh, his snarls shaking the leaves. He fought with no grace, no restraint, just raw, brutal power. A hunter aimed for his heart with a silver dagger. Lysandra was there before the strike landed, ripping the man's arm clean off. Blood rained between them. For a heartbeat, they stood back to back, breathing in sync. Then the last 2 hunters ran. Cale tensed to chase. Lysandra caught his wrist. "Let them go." He turned, his gaze burning. "They'll bring more." "I know." His pulse jumped under her fingers. She should let go. She didn't. The forest held its breath. Then, a sound, distant but unmistakable. Hounds. The vampire lord's prize killers, bred to track immortals. Cale's grip tightened. "Run." They ran. Branches whipped at Lysandra's arms as she flew over roots and rocks. Cale kept pace beside her, his breaths ragged but steady. The hounds bayed, closer now. A ravine split the earth ahead. No time to stop. Lysandra leaped. Midair, a hound's jaws snapped at her ankle. Cale's arm hooked around her waist, yanking her clear. They hit the other side hard, rolling in a tangle of limbs. The hound skidded at the edge, snarling. Cale was on his feet first, pulling her up. "Move." But Lysandra froze. The first streaks of dawn painted the sky. She'd run too far, stayed too long. The sun was coming. Cale saw it too, his jaw clenched. Then, without a word, he shoved her against the ravine wall, his body shielding hers as the light broke over the trees. The first ray hit his back. His skin blistered. Lysandra's hands flew to his shoulders. "You idiot." He gritted his teeth. "Not dying today, princess." The hounds howled, unable to cross. The sun climbed higher. Cale's knees buckled. Lysandra dragged him into a shallow cave, her fingers trembling where they touched his burns. No one had ever bled for her before. His eyes opened, hazy with pain. "Still with me?" Her throat tightened. "Shut up." His laugh was rough, but his hand found hers. Held on. Outside, the world burned. Inside, something else did. The cave smelled of wet stone and burnt flesh. Cale lay on his stomach, his back a ruined landscape of blisters and raw, angry skin. Every breath he took was too controlled, too careful, the only sign of how much pain he was in. Lysandra crouched beside him, her fingers hovering over the worst of the burns. She shouldn't care. She did. "You're an idiot," she said. He turned his head just enough to glare at her. "You're welcome." Outside, the sun climbed higher, painting the cave entrance in molten gold. Too bright, too dangerous. She should be curled in some dark corner, waiting for nightfall. Instead, she was here, with him. A low growl rumbled in his chest. "Stop staring." "I'm not." Liar. She bared her fangs, but there was no heat in it. Not when his skin was peeling. Not when he'd taken the fire meant for her. Silence stretched between them, thick and heavy. Then footsteps. Lysandra went rigid. The scent hit her a second later. Bergamot and old blood. Him. Her sire. Cale snarled, trying to rise. She shoved him back down. "Don't move." The vampire lord stepped into the cave like he owned it. His crimson eyes swept over them, lingering on Cale's wounds. How? Domestic. Lysandra stood, putting herself between them. "What do you want?" "You," he said simply. "Come home, little ghost." She didn't flinch. No. His smile was a knife. "Then I'll kill your pet." Cale lunged, or tried to. His body betrayed him, collapsing halfway up. The vampire lord laughed, kicking him onto his back. Silver flashed. A dagger pressed to Cale's throat. Lysandra's vision went red. Last chance, her sire purred. She could fight. She could win. Maybe. But Cale was bleeding. Cale was hurt. Her hands curled into fists. "Let him go." Say the words. The cave walls pressed in. Cale's eyes locked onto hers, furious. "Don't," they said. She took a breath. "I'll come." The dagger didn't move. "Swear it." "I swear." Her sire stepped back, satisfied. Cale roared, surging up, only to crumple as silver chains wrapped around him, searing into his skin. Lysandra didn't look back as she followed her sire into the light. She didn't need to. She could feel Cale's rage like a brand against her spine. The Covenant's palace was all cold marble and colder smiles. Lysandra stood in the throne room, her sire's fingers tracing the curve of her neck. "You belong here," he murmured. "With me?" She said nothing. Outside, the sun began to set. Cale woke in chains. The dungeon reeked of wolfsbane and rust. His back was on fire, his wrists raw from struggling. The silver burned, but he didn't stop. Couldn't. Not when she was out there. Not when a shadow moved in the corner. He snarled, yanking against the chains. "Come to gloat?" Lysandra stepped into the dim torchlight. Her dress was different, silk instead of shadows. Her eyes were the same. Empty. No, not empty. Angry. She knelt beside him, her voice barely a whisper. "I lied." Then her fangs sank into her own wrist. Blood welled, black as sin in the flickering light. She pressed it to his lips. "Drink," she commanded. He did. The chains shattered. So did the night. His bones broke first. Cale arched against the stone floor as his body twisted, tendons snapping, muscles reforming under skin that split and stitched itself back together. Lysandra watched, her blood still wet on his lips. She had seen werewolves transform before, but never like this. Never with her venom in their veins. The chains lay in melted heaps around him. When it was over, he was something else, something more. Not wolf, not man, something in between. His claws scraped against stone as he pushed himself up. His breath came in ragged growls, his golden eyes burning through the dungeon's gloom. He was bigger now, wilder. The burns on his back had vanished, replaced by thick, dark fur that rippled with each movement. Lysandra should have been afraid. She wasn't. Feeling better, she murmured. He bared his teeth. You get me. You let me. A beat of silence. Then, a roar shook the dungeon walls. Not from Kale. From above. Her sire knew. Kale's head snapped toward the sound. His hackles rose, a deep snarl building in his chest. Lysandra grabbed his muzzle, forcing him to look at her. Listen to me. We don't have time. His growl vibrated against her palm, but he didn't pull away. The alpha of your pack, she said, voice low and urgent. He cursed you, didn't he? Kale went still. I can smell it on you, she continued. Old magic, the kind that doesn't just hurt, it consumes. His eyes flickered, for the first time something like hesitation. Then another roar, closer this time. Footsteps pounded above them. Lysandra's grip tightened. Tell me. Kale exhaled sharply. When he spoke, his voice was rough, half-beast. He marked me for death. The next full moon, my body tears itself apart. No coming back. The words hung between them, heavy as an executioner's axe. Lysandra didn't flinch. Why? Because I refused to kill for him. Kale's claws dug into the stone. Because I left. She understood then. He wasn't just exiled. He was a dead man walking. Something cold curled in her chest. She knew that feeling. The door above them splintered. No more time. Lysandra stood, offering her hand. Then let's make sure you don't die alone. Kale looked at her hand, then at her. His muzzle wrinkled, not a snarl. A smile. He took her hand. Together, they ran up, straight into the storm. The palace burned behind them. Smoke curled into the night sky, thick and choking, as Lysandra and Kale raced through the ruins of the grand hall. The marble floors were slick with blood, some vampire, some wolf, most human. The air stank of silver and scorched fur. They were being hunted, by both sides now. Kale ran at her side, his transformed body a nightmare of muscle and claw. He moved like a storm-given flesh, all barely leashed violence and rumbling growls. Every few steps, his head would snap toward a sound only he could hear, his golden eyes flashing in the dark. Lysandra matched him step for step. Her dress was torn, her hair wild. She had never felt more alive. A shadow lunged from their left, one of her sire's elite guards, armed with a blade dripping wolfsbane. Kale didn't slow. He spun, his claws meeting the sword midair with a shriek of metal. The guard barely had time to gasp before Kale's jaws closed around his throat. Lysandra didn't watch him fall. She was already moving, already feeling the next attack coming. 3 werewolves burst through the shattered windows, their coats matted with battle, their fangs bared. Not Kale's pack. The alpha's chosen killers. They didn't hesitate. The first wolf went down under Lysandra's heel, her foot crushing its windpipe before it could howl. The second she caught by the scruff, slamming its skull into the floor hard enough to crack stone. The third she left for Kale. He took it apart, not with the mindless rage of a beast, with precision, with purpose. When it was over, he stood panting over the corpse, his muzzle dripping red. Lysandra tilted her head. Show off. He huffed, something like amusement in those wild eyes. Then the ground shook. The ceiling above them groaned, chunks of plaster raining down. Her sire was coming. And he wasn't alone. Kale's ears flattened. He didn't need words to say what they both knew. They couldn't win this. Not here. Not like this. Lysandra bared her fangs anyway. Then Kale did something unexpected. He nudged her, just once, his massive head pressing against her shoulder, a silent command. Move. She hesitated. He growled. She growled back. For a heartbeat, they stood there, 2 predators in a ruined world, neither willing to back down. Then the walls exploded. Her sire stepped through the dust, the alpha at his side. 2 kings. 1 war. and no way out. Kale's body tensed, ready to charge. Lysandra grabbed his fur. Not today, she hissed. Then she ran, and for the first time in his life, Kale followed. The night swallowed them whole, but the hunt had only just begun. The cliff's edge crumbled beneath them. Lysandra's fingers dug into Kale's fur as the ground gave way, sending them both sliding toward the drop. Far below, the river roared, its black water swallowing the moonlight whole. Behind them, the snarls of their hunters drew closer. No way forward, no way back. Kale twisted, his massive body shielding hers as rocks skittered past. His golden eyes locked onto hers, fierce, unyielding. Jump, he growled. Lysandra's grip tightened. You'll die. The curse in his veins was already tearing him apart. She could smell it. The sickness beneath his fur, the way his muscles trembled with every breath. The fall would kill him. He bared his teeth. Jump with me. Then the first arrow struck. Silver-tipped, it buried itself in Kale's shoulder. He roared but didn't move, didn't let her go. Another arrow, another. Lysandra snarled, whirling to face their attackers. Her sire stood at the tree line, his crimson eyes glowing in the dark. The alpha loomed beside him, a silver chain coiled in his claws. Last chance, little ghost, her sire purred. Come home. She spat blood at his feet. His smile vanished. The alpha lunged. Kale met him midair. The two wolves collided with a sound like thunder, fangs and claws tearing at fur and flesh. Lysandra moved to help, only for her sire's hand to close around her throat. Enough, he hissed. She thrashed, her nails raking his face. He didn't flinch. Behind them, Kale stumbled. The alpha's jaws closed around his hind leg, crunching bone. Lysandra's world narrowed to that sound, to the way Kale's body hit the ground, to the silver chain now coiled around his neck. Her sire's grip tightened. Watch, he whispered. The alpha pulled. Kale's howl shattered the night. Something inside Lysandra broke. She stopped fighting. Let him go, she said, her voice hollow, and I'll come willingly. Her sire's fingers loosened. Swear it. She didn't hesitate. I swear. The alpha laughed, tightening the chain. Too late for bargains. Kale's body convulsed. His eyes found hers, not pleading, promising. Then he moved. One last, desperate lunge. His claws ripped into the alpha's chest. His jaws closed around the chain. And he leaped off the cliff, dragging the alpha with him. Her sire's grip vanished as she screamed. But the sound was lost in the roar of the river below. Lysandra fell to her knees. The hunters hesitated. Then the ground trembled. From the raging waters below, a howl. Not of pain, of victory. Lysandra's head snapped up. Kale's curse was broken, and so were her chains. She rose, her fangs gleaming. My turn. The river spat him out. Kale crawled onto the bank, his body broken and remade, the curse's chains shattered in the dark water. The alpha's blood still stained his claws, his muzzle. The kill should have felt like victory. It didn't. Not when she wasn't there. He howled her name into the night. The forest didn't answer. The palace gates exploded. Lysandra walked through the wreckage, her dress in tatters, her eyes glowing like dying stars. The remaining vampires fell back, their weapons trembling in their hands. She didn't stop, didn't slow. Her sire waited on his throne, his smile sharp as a blade. You came back. You promised me eternity, she said softly. And I'll give it to you. He held out his hand. Just kneel. She looked at that hand. Then she tore it off. The battle was short, brutal. When it was over, Lysandra stood alone in the ruins of her old life, the throne room drenched in blood. Her sire's head rolled at her feet. She felt nothing. Then, a sound, a howl. Close. Her dead heart stuttered. She found him at the tree line. Kale stood in the moonlight, his human skin whole again, his golden eyes burning. He was covered in wounds, in river mud, in blood that wasn't his. He was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. They stared at each other across the ruined courtyard. Then he took a step forward. So did she. Another. Another. until there was no space left between them. His hand rose slow, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. His fingers brushed her cheek, tracing the curve of her fang. Still with me, princess? Her breath hitched. She leaned into his touch. Always. The city burned behind them as they walked into the woods. Two shadows. One path. No more chains. Kale's fingers tangled with hers. Lysandra didn't let go. Somewhere ahead, the night stretched on forever. Somewhere ahead, they'd write their own legends. But for now, this was